Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Combluzzi, a mining analyst at Red Cloud. This session of our fall mining showcase will feature Gold79 Mines. From the company, we have with us Gary Thompson, who's the CEO and executive chairman. I'll note that if any attendees have questions, to just type it in the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. And also the presentation is available on the conference website. With that, I'll turn it over to Gary to guide us through the story.
Great, thanks, Taylor. So Gold79 Mines. So if you're wondering where the 79 comes from, it's 79 is the number for gold in the periodic table, the atomic number. So Gold79 is that's kind of a rebranding of two companies that came together, Territory Metals and Aura Resources, on an acquisition that was done earlier in 2020, and now it's being rebranded as Gold79 Mines. With a focus of building gold ounces in the Southwest U.S. We believe we have a strong management team, and really the goal is to, again, build those ounces in the Southwest U.S. with a primary focus of being Nevada, with, I'm sure most people recognize as one of the top places in the world for gold exploration. And we've got some pretty impressive drill results. We've got three main projects, and the similarity to them all is they have oxide gold, and they have a significant amount of historical work, and with most of the work being conducted in the 1980s. So I'm a geologist by training, some 27 years in mineral exploration, oil and gas, and renewable power collectively. Probably been involved in about $100 million worth of equity raises since about 2006. Rob Johansing is our VP Exploration, brings some 45 years experience in mineral exploration and more importantly, gold and epithermal gold style systems. John McNeese is the company's CFO, a chartered accountant, has been involved with many public companies and north of 30 years experience in the sector. I have three independent directors, Jim Franklin, William Boberg, and Derek McPherson, our independent board of directors. Gold79 has three main projects, and they're all located within the Walker Lane of southern Nevada and Arizona. The two Nevada projects are called Jefferson Canyon, which is next to Kinross's Round Mountain mine, which has a historical or previous production of about 15 million ounces and 2 to 3 million ounces in reserves. And Tip Top is in the southern Walker Lane within Nevada, near some high-grade historical mines as well. And the third one is called Gold Chain, which is in the southern end of the Walker Lane trend, and that one's in Arizona, and it's about 15 kilometers from Northern Vertex's Moss Mine heap leach operation. So Walker Lane, if you're not that familiar with it, has been gaining a lot of traction in Nevada. For gold exploration and development. It's a long trending classic epithermal gold and significant oxide gold mineralization, which is the other commonality of our projects. Each one has significant oxide gold drilling to date. So why Jefferson Canyon? We like Jefferson Canyon for a few reasons. It's closeology to the Round Mountain mine, similar geology hosted in these felsic ash flow tufts and on the margin of a caldera, and similar structural controls we see here in Jefferson Canyon, which is northwest and north-south structural controls, and we see both high-grade gold-silver veins as well as broad-scale disseminated gold mineralization. One of the impressive holes, a 1981 hole, drilled 41 meters of 6.4 grams of gold and 400 grams silver, which at today's gold-silver ratio, that's about 41 meters of 11 grams gold equivalent. And we think there's lots of room for expansion potential. On this slide, showing the location, we're about 7.5 kilometers to the northeast of Round Mountain. And you can look at the scale of the Round Mountain pit. You can actually see some of the north trending structural control and northwest control And I would argue that you could take that open pit and drag it over here to Jefferson Canyon. So there's enough similarities between the two projects geologically and mineralization style that we're seeing on the two projects. This is a bit more detail on GJ81. You can see the 41 meters from near surface here, averaged to 6.4 grams and 400 gram silver. But there's some pretty significant high-grade intervals within that, 1.5 meters of 88 grams of gold and over 2,000 grams silver per ton. And there's also some lower zones of mineralization lower down the hole. In fact, you can argue that the hole ended in the mineralization at 167 meters. And most of the drilling was done using RC, 105 RC holes and 13 diamond core holes. And you can see there's actually a number of the holes that ended in mineralization as well. So this is going to be an exciting project for us to start drilling once we get going here. We're in the midst of a bit of a data compilation with the project. You can see by this map here, this is ongoing compilation. So this is alteration background here. The pinks and yellow are more intense alteration, and the lighter green color is a lesser intensity and alteration. And these color dots represent the gold values that have been collected to date. And I think the thing to stress here is the distribution of gold mineralization here. It's fairly widespread gold mineralization at surface, and we believe it's been poorly basically poorly drill tested. Most of the drilling is quite shallow. And you can see a cluster of drill holes here in this northwest trend. So pretty significant. There's up to 30 grams per ton gold from surface sampling, and some significant road cut sampling, 24 meters of a gram gold here on a road cut. So we're in the process of digitizing the geophysics. There's a number of geophysical surveys that have been conducted, and we collected about 3,000 soil samples recently, which there hasn't been previously. There hasn't been much soil sampling work done, so we're pretty excited to see what that brings us. That the new soil data combined with the geophysical data will be basically put us in a position to start plotting up the next steps for drilling in 2021. The second project is called Tip Top. It's a classic low sulfidation epithermal vein system. There's a series of veins, and they actually mined about 6,000 ounces of gold here at the Tip Top adit, some high-grade gold, and significant oxide gold here as well. And similarly, we've conducted I think we collected about 2,400 soil samples over the target area, and are in the process of coming up with the next steps for drilling. Some significant gold mineralization oxide as well, within 154 holes on this project, and you can see some of these intercepts here, 18 meters or 21 grams. Pretty significant. There's also some quite high-grade intervals here as well. So we're showing on this image of both a long section where they stoped out the ore to date, and then the cross section showing some of the veins dipping. We do see the potential for a significant strike north of a 3-kilometer strike, and also we're seeing evidence of parallel veining at surface that looks like have not been drill tested. So that's something we want to get on once we start drilling here. The third project in our portfolio was called Gold Chain. This one is in southern Walker Lane. It's in Arizona, and this one also was drilled in the 80s. A series of shallow oxide gold mineralization from 0.5 to 1.6 grams per ton within the formation. And the interesting feature is we're not far from Northern Vertex. We're about 15 kilometers north of the Northern Vertex Moss Mine, which is an open pit oxide gold deposit. So we see similarities to that, and we're in the process of permitting that. We potentially could be ready to drill this project in November of 2020. So once we receive the permits on that, then we'll get going on drilling that. Here's a snapshot of one of 3 zones on the property. You can see it's road accessible, and we're getting these 16, 17 meters of a gram, 15 meters of a gram, and some broader intervals in the 60 to 70 meter range of half a gram type material. So at surface oxide, we think this is a reasonable target to expand on, and so we're excited to get out and drill some holes here. I think that's pretty much the presentation there. Just a little bit on the company market capitalization. Currently has 88.5 million shares outstanding. Management and insiders own about 14%. And we recently announced a 10-cent unit offering as well for funds for basically for drilling. So here's my contact information, and I guess I'll open it up for questions, Taylor, if there are any. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Gary. Great presentation. So I'll just kind of start off. You've clearly started doing some kind of earlier stage work at Tip Top and Jefferson Canyon. Maybe you could just kind of explain your philosophy and your approach to doing that, seeing as there's already kind of been some historical drilling at the 2 properties there.
Yeah, one of the things that we found was interesting is there really wasn't much of any soil sampling data done historically. So they started drilling and they got on the veins and they started marching along the veins, but didn't really do the rudimentary systematic exploration that you would normally do. So we decided that we wanted to do that because we believe that there's other targets on the property that have not been really flushed out. And you can see by the Jefferson Canyon map that I showed with the rock samples at surface that we're pulling some pretty significant gold numbers from surface sampling, where if you look at the rock, it's not necessarily spectacular massive sulfide mineralization. It's more veinlet disseminated style, but still turning 10, 12, 15 grams per ton gold. So we wanted to just give a first pass broad coverage of soil geochem to see what that lights up, and then kind of put that in with the geophysics, the data that we have. It's just another tool in a toolbox that helps us basically refine our drill targets.
Right. And when are you expecting results from those surveys?
Well, I hate to say a number because it'll be wrong. But we completed Tip Top quite a while ago when the fires were raging in California. So I'm hoping within the next month here, sometime in November, I would anticipate to start to see those soil results, or most certainly by the end of the year.
Right. Yeah. I know there's certainly been delays given COVID and impacts on labs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they've been behind for sure.
Yeah. And have you had any impact with kind of restrictions on travel or anything doing any work down there? Is it...
Not so much. No, it's been okay. We've been using some U.S.-based consultants, been helping out on the project, so it hasn't really impacted us so far.
Right. Okay. I guess which project would you say is kind of most advanced and think has the most potential, I guess, at this stage?
Well, I mean, I guess I would lean on the Jefferson Canyon, which we have on top of our list. Mm-hmm. Only because, it's got a lot of good gold numbers at surface. We don't believe it's been drilled effectively, drilled quite shallow, so we see some good potential at depth. It's got the right alteration. It's has enough similarities to Round Mountain. And you know what they say, a good place to look for a mine is next to a mine. So we're in that situation where we believe if we can prove up a meaningful amount of ounces. We know Kinross has a limited life left on the Round Mountain, so we think that's a pretty unique opportunity next door to a mine that's kind of winding down its operation. So it could be good timing for us, and we're excited to get out and drill some fresh holes in here.
Right. And what kind of quality are those? Is the previous drilling at Jefferson Canyon? Is it all fairly good, or is
Well,
it?
yeah, the challenge is the vintage of it. It was in the 80s and mostly RC drilling. So we need to get some core into this system and use that to help model up the structure and the geology a little bit better, so we can have a better handle on it. But there's been some good work done historically, and I think we have a reasonable handle on it. And I think once we get in there with some fresh holes, it's going to help tell the story for sure.
Right. And so any kind of future program, you'd be looking at a core program then on the properties.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think once you get into it and you've defined, an oxide zone perhaps that you want to get into a resource, you can certainly mix and match with the core and RC. But I think right now we've got too many RC holes and not enough core holes.
Right.
And it usually comes down to the QP that's going to sign off on any resource publication, what they want to see as far as core density versus RC, and getting comfortable with the data and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could outline for us kind of what the upcoming catalysts are for the company, and just give a snapshot of the next little while for Gold79.
Yeah, I think the catalysts that I believe are going to be drilling, and like I mentioned earlier, the Gold Chain project in Arizona, I think is quite an exciting opportunity, given it's close to an operating mine with similar geology and similar oxide grades and intervals. So the idea there is to get on that hopefully in November this year and drill through the winter months. We think that should provide some significant catalysts and milestones for the company as we get into 2021, with some obviously anticipated good results on that. And we'll be looking to expand on that. So do a round of drilling, see where that gets us, and then try and build a trend on it. I mean, ultimately, we want to get these projects into resource category. So that's going to be a significant milestone and a catalyst for us. There's enough significant work on them. We're just basically adding to that historical work and then looking to advance from there to get these projects into resource category. I mean, the goal is to build ounces in the Southwest U.S., so that's what we intend to do. And once we're get the permits for drilling the Jefferson Canyon and/or Tip Top, I think those are exciting projects in their own right. And once we start drilling on them, I think it's going to be a different story for us certainly than it is today.
Right. So with that, the permitting is all in place then at Gold Chain for you to start that up.
Gold Chain is we're just waiting on approvals. It's been submitted. We've identified the drill sites, and the work has been done. Now we're just waiting on receipt of that, and I'm told it's a 30-day process once they've been submitted. So we should have that, I would say, before the end of November.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that's it for questions. So I wanted to thank you very much, Gary, for your presentation today. It's been great hearing the story.
Thank you. Appreciate the interest. Bye now.